Hello there, and welcome back to another Space Marine VOD review. This time the player we're going to be looking at is Henk of the Raven Guard. So, without further ado, let's get into it and see what he's got for us. Whoa, that is quite loud. Let me just turn the volume of that down a little bit. One thing I have noticed is that your sound is really boomy. I don't know if that's by design to maybe hear footsteps a little bit better, or whatever, but anyway, a little bit strange, not used to that. Okay, so first things first, we're playing the Stalker Bolter and Melter Gun loadout with Larimer's Blessing and Stims. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk a little bit about that one. Now, this isn't necessarily in response just to you, Henk, but in more general terms for people who use this loadout. I believe it's a misconception that this is the meta for tacticals. Now, you might have noticed that in a few of the previous videos, I've been recommending that players play with the Melter perk and a frag grenade instead. Now, the reason is because that is usually the better option. Now, as I've already been over in previous reviews, that is because the Melter Gun is so inconsistent unless you really know what you're doing with the pistol fast swap and that sort of thing to finish targets. It's just not really going to do enough damage without the Melter perk. Now, the question here, I suppose, is whether or not you're going to get value out of Larimer's Blessing and Stims. Now, I've noticed that you obviously are very capable with the fast swap to the pistol or the Stalker Bolter, so that's not a problem. That's not the reason why I might suggest that here. The question is whether or not you're getting value out of Larimer's Blessing and Stims. Now, obviously, I've only seen a small cross-section of your play, but that's really a decision for you to make between loadouts. Just something to be aware of, because I think it is genuinely better to run with the Melter perk, and it's only if you have a particularly niche playstyle and use of stims, I suppose like I do, that I would really say, yes, this is definitely the right choice. Just something to consider. Anyway, that aside, let's keep running the video. Capping the home point is something that I would usually not do. Normally I would go straight for B on this map, but it's not necessarily the wrong choice either. There's an assault coming in. Whoa, got away with it a little bit there. Okay, let's think a little bit about how that could have gone better. So this is another thing. This is a trend that I've noticed with your play, is that you're really favouring the fast swap to Stalker Bolter instead of Bolt Pistol. Now, this is quite a controversial theme when it comes to relatively high-level tacticals. I personally prefer the Bolt Pistol. Now, let me justify that to you, and you can make the decision for yourself, which you would prefer. The reason for that is because there's so much less spread when you're hip firing. It becomes something of a lottery. At this sort of range, here, you would imagine it would be relatively accurate, but in my experience that's not always the case. Because you're moving your feet while you're firing the hip fire, the spread can go just about anywhere. I would say that the spread, this is a rough estimate, so don't take this with a grain of salt, in other words. I would say that the spread of it is something like this. Shots can go just about anywhere there, maybe not quite that big actually. I would say something like this, which is just not really good enough. When the bolt pistol spread, if you fire relatively quickly, is probably going to be about the size of your reticle there. So it's just so much more reliable to use the pistol over the Stalker Bolter, but the trade-off is that you do get more damage out of the Stalker Bolter, obviously. Now, another reason why you might want to choose the bolt pistol over the Stalker Bolter is because if you've already fired some shots, after fast swapping you fire some shots with the Stalker Bolter, you then have a much longer reload, and your ammunition is a bit more valuable on the Stalker Bolter compared to pistol. So this might come up later on, but hypothetically, if you fire, say, 5 shots to finish a target, you get the kill, but then you see another target somewhere else, or you have another target coming in close, and you really want to finish them off. You've already used half of your Stalker Bolter ammo, and you're just not in a position where you can properly return fire, compared to if you use your pistol, where you can empty all 10 shots and still have all 10 in your Stalker Bolter after that. So this is something that a lot of players might disagree with, but personally I would always go for the pistol, with certain niche exceptions which we'll cover a bit later. Now, in this particular scenario, moving on from the swap that you did, let's see if there was a way to avoid this ground pounder, if it was simply a bit of a laggy one. I mean, you got away with it a little bit there, but that was not necessarily the wrong direction to roll. I think I would have just preferred an F charge. Not a massive deal, and you did get helped out by your teammates, so it didn't really end up mattering. Came up on the balcony is again not something that I'm super huge on. This balcony just doesn't have great lines of sight, but you're coming straight back down, and it looks like you're going for the right-hand flank route. This is quite a good one, actually. Holding this tunnel can be very valuable. Moving into engage, taking some shots. I feel like you're rushing a lot of the time. And that is something that is more of a general theme with your gameplay. Having seen a couple of, well, not more than a couple, I would say more than a couple of rounds, maybe 5 or 6 rounds of your play, I think you just generally tend to rush, whether it be moving around the map with animation cancels, again, something that we'll touch on a bit later, but also taking shots. I think you're just taking too little time to aim and firing straight away whether or not your crosshairs are on the target. So if we look again, just sort of flicking a bit too much there. So I think this is maybe a bit of a consistent theme when it comes to aim. I think I would prefer you to fire less shots but make them more accurate. So take your time to line up that first shot and then make the others count. We'll see other examples of this, but also, I mean, your aim it's quite solid, really. It's just under certain situations, when you're under pressure, it does get a bit rushed. So we come on to B point, and there are grenades coming in, but you've made it out. Popping stims as the security option, I don't mind that. That's actually a very nice 180. Let's watch that again quickly. Yeah, so you slip past him and then the instant 180, very nice indeed. Pretty low, I think I would probably, yep, you're popping stims, that's good. Taking some shots again, you're rushing them, and you've been flanked by a las cannon and killed. Okay, there's not a whole lot you could have done about this las cannon, I think. At this point here, you make the right decision to go to cover here. At this point, it's simply on, will he hit the second shot? In this case, he does. You go down. That's not your fault, I wouldn't say. It's a weird flank to expect a las cannon from. So, respawning. Going down the middle this time, I prefer this. In this sort of situation, I would probably go for the left side. Which way are you going to pick, though? You're going towards the right. Not so big on this. The right-hand side is just not particularly valuable in comparison. Taking some grenades, popping stims. That's good. That's probably what I would have done there. But a Vengeance Launcher who you're going to charge down, and that's a good kill. Risky, very risky. I think from this position here, I would probably have backed off instead. So you come around this corner. You've got no armor. You see the Vengeance Launcher. It's difficult because you've got one there as well. I think I would have tried to tuck in here. Simply because he should kill you here. If he lands his shots, you die long before you actually reach him. As it happens, you are able to close the distance and get the kill. It's nice animation cancels to close the gap, but here's something again that I want to talk about. The weapons that you're switching to, you're going a lot between bolt pistol and melter gun, which gives this sort of jerky motion where you're pausing in between. If we tab into Space Marine, I'll just replicate what you're doing. So you're going for this sort of thing, and then it's not quite that disjointed, but the way that I would prefer is to switch between melter gun and stalker bolt. You see, I can quite easily keep sprinting afterwards, which you can do between the pistol, but it's just a little bit more clunky. And also, with this particular pattern, you can switch. My favourite is to go melter gun, stalker bolt, and melter gun. Now the reason for this is because you always have your melter ready for action. And this is a trend that I've noticed, is that a lot of the time you're animation cancelling without actually thinking where you're going. So if you say, let's say for example, you come to this corner, you animation cancel, you've got your pistol out, if someone's here, you're dead. There's no escaping that. So switch between the two, I would recommend, and make sure you finish up on the melter gun. And in fact, I am of the opinion that you're animation cancelling too much. Certain players that we've seen in this series haven't really been animation cancelling enough. Some of them don't really know how to do it, but you obviously do. You have a very good grasp of the charge cancel with the weapon swap, but I think just tone it down a little bit. Now, there's not really great examples in this particular round, which is why I kind of wanted to use a different one instead. But a lot of the time, you're sort of going to corners, still animation cancelling, and getting punished by, say, a melter gun here, or wherever, just holding the corner. So I would say just cool your jets a little bit. Use your sprint a bit more. You can use cancels just to close the distance, but make sure that you have the melter gun ready for action when you reach corners. Like, so maybe I would come to here, ready to fire, whereas going around like that is just asking to get shot by a melter gun. So it's fine to use it for movement. I think I would probably move around the map like this. So you see, when I'm far from the corner, there's nothing wrong with it. But when I come to the corner, think about having your melter ready to fire. Again, you're not really going to get punished too much for this in this particular round, but it's something that I noticed primarily from the others. Anyway, let's get back to it. So you get this kill, and you do unfortunately pay the price. I think from that point that you decided to commit, you were basically dead, and you traded out, so that's fine, I guess. I think I would have probably played it safer, but that's up to you, obviously. I don't like coming all this way over to the right. Your team, they're on this. There's two of them on there. I think I would prefer you to push up. This is something that I've mentioned in the how to carry games video, I think it was, which is where you want to leave your teammates to finish captures. You make the space for them, you kill the targets, and then your team can follow up and capture. Okay, see, yeah, this is a perfect example of what I meant before. From here, you land the melter shot on the assault. His armor's actually only broken now, so it wasn't a great connection. But here, your shots are going wide of him. I think if we watch it again, let's actually watch it in slow-mo so we can have a closer look. If you watch it in 0.25. So, whoa, that sound is horrible. So there's a hit. That one hits the player behind him, and yeah, I think you hit one of the 3 shots that were aimed at him actually connected. With the pistol, it would have done less damage with individual shots, but they would have been less spread. So that assault gets away with it. You push in, that guy does go down, that's fine. Taking shots with the pistol now, which is interesting. I'm not quite sure what made you decide to switch to the pistol from Stalker there. Then moving round on the flank here, let's see. Go for an ambush, that's very good shooting, that's a perfect ambush. Stepping out, target's moving towards you, he's got no escape, landing some headshots, that's good. So we see someone else coming here. He's taking the corner wide. I think I would opt into this, to be honest, because once you see him here, this is Stalker range, you can definitely use your scope even, or you can use space and control to aim. But instead you do decide to pull back. I think it's just a minor thing. I would probably have chosen to try for that shootout, because he does have a bolter, so he's not a huge threat to you. Okay, we got a good flank going here. That's 1 kill. Nice, nice. This is really good. And I'm sure you know why, but for people who don't, the reason why this is such a good play is because first kill is secure, you're under fire. This is the exact right pathing to take. This is really good. So you take this cover here, he continues to move forwards, then you can move out and punish him. Good stuff. I like that. So you're still on this flank route. I think in this scenario I would definitely start pushing the home point. That's good. That seems to be what you're doing. This point here is very difficult to hold against spawn. As soon as you reach this point here, you're basically committing yourself to either decapping or dying. Because with enemies coming from here, they can come from here. It's just a very difficult point to extract from. But this is still the right decision to go for it because your team is down considerably right now. I think I'll be watching it with Melter though, just in case. Grenade coming in. You're pushing out to meet him. Okay, I'm surprised he didn't die. Again, this is strange to me. I would have probably pushed all the way out to here. Started about here and then pushed out to meet him as he came around the corner. That just allows you to get that one-shot potential going, and it's obviously much easier to do that when you're holding the corner against him and he's pushing in. But instead, from this point here, you sort of step sideways and engage him. Doesn't kill him. At this point, this is where I would recommend switching to pistol for the finish, because his armor is broken. I would switch to pistol and walk this way. Instead, you decide to roll, which is it's just really risky because you've already taken damage. You need to kill this guy before he kills you. If he decides that he's going to just shoot you, if he fast swaps and shoots you, you're dead. In the time it takes you to complete this roll, you would be dead because you're being shot from there as well. Fortunately, he decides to roll out of it and you're able to finish him. But again, with Stalker, it takes more shots than it would have done with a pistol, I would say. And you've used ammunition, which you might want to use to engage the other shooter there. It's mostly a stylistic difference, I would say. I would definitely say move out to the corner to engage rather than staying back in there. But then switching to pistol, we've already gone over that. But you do get the kill. This is too early. I don't like you popping stims here. Because you're in cover, you know that the grenades have already come in. There might be another one, but at that point that's when you'd want to pop stims. Because by popping it now, you're fully regened and not making use of the regen to tank damage. And there's very little delay with Laraman's stims. With Laraman's blessing anyway. So this is a waste, in my opinion. Taking fire from there. Just stay tucked in this corner. I would say stay here and use the third person cam. In fact, I will show you what I mean by that. If I tap into the game real quick. Let's just go to the point. From this position here, you can tuck all the way in and still have vision through this wall. And you can also see there. This is a trick that not many people know. You can in fact clip the camera through the wall to watch that entrance and that one there. So in this scenario, you came out here to have a look and got shot from there. Just clip through the wall. It's kind of stupid, but it does work. Whoops, I've accidentally capped that. Oh, we're on a timer now. Oh well, we better carry on with the video before that actually completes the game for us. Might have to reload it. Anyway, you do take damage. It does heal you up. Same concept again. This does pay off for you because you are able to get the kill, but if you had a melter gun, you'd be dead. I want you to be getting into the habit of pushing from here outwards, because the moment you detect that he's coming, you need to close that distance. You see him there, now move outwards, but you take a step back. It's a small thing, it doesn't end up mattering, but like I say, if he's got a melter gun, he's taking this corner quite wide, and that would kill you. Whoops, not sure what that was. Let's watch that sequence without any choppy bits. Doesn't one-shot him. Again, I don't like the roll. You need to kill him. You've got no armor already, so you're essentially wasting time. As he moves out, he's still going to have line of sight on you, so the roll is just delaying the kill. Take the shot, instantly switch, and then finish him off. But it doesn't end up mattering because he can't aim, which is good. So you've got the kill, and you've almost got the cap here, which is honestly very good going. Another grenade coming in. That's a shame, that is. It just cancelled regen, so you still need to play safe. Doesn't seem to be following up, so that's fine. You've got the cap, it's time to get out. And in fact, it seems like you have managed to extricate yourself from that. Yeah, I think I actually quite like that decision to trade. At this point, you see there's so many people coming, you're just going to instantly melt, so might as well try and get the kill. Yeah, that's fine. There's not much you can do here. I think either way, if you go that way, or back, you're still going to end up dead. So take the trade, that's fine. Yeah, there's a las cannon on the flank as well. No real way out of that one. I don't know why you're going through here. You want to be going through the center and off to the left, I would say. It's just so much more valuable. Okay, you're now looping back round. I'm not quite sure if you thought this was being decapped or something. Anyway, moving on to B point. That's fine. Why are you animation cancelling here? You've gone into this corner and you're just sort of charging around. There's nobody shooting at you. Just be patient and wait for someone to come. Taking some shots now, you can push out and kill this guy. That's good. One-shotting him. The cap is almost finished, taking some shots here. Again, you're kind of rushing. I wonder if your sensitivity is too high, honestly. You see, I'm looking at it here, and your aim is just sort of bouncing around a bit. You're moving it from side to side when just holding it on the target would have done the trick. I don't know if that's because your hand's just not quite steady on your mouse mat, but something to consider is maybe lowering your sensitivity and seeing if that helps you out at all. Why are you going through here? What have you seen? I'm confused. You've got the cap, and you just 180 and abandon the point. I don't know. Maybe you saw someone coming from up here? I don't know. Because this is not a great position to hold, and I don't think you're intending to hold it. No, you're going to go around on the right-hand flank. But you see, they're already capping it. You're moving in now, but it might be a bit late. Oh, that's unlucky, that is. This is quite unfortunate, to be honest. You just walked into the hornet's nest and woken them all up just as the host migration comes in. Yeah, I mean, I think you probably do one-shot this guy if it goes off. But from this situation here, one thing that's notable when it comes to a host migration is that your melter gun recharges in it. So right here, you can get another shot off at him straight away. You just want to fast swap and finish this target, really. You go for the charge instead, but I mean, things go really janky afterwards. So yeah, he goes to here. At this point, yeah, you're in trouble. There's a bunch of people on this point. You've just given away your position by no fault of your own, mind you. I think I would just focus on this guy. Just go after him. You sort of go for it, but then actually, yeah, that's the right decision, I think. You see the las cannon. You're like, hell no, hell no. So right decision to go this way. I think in this scenario you want to be tucking in here, just so that you can avoid fire from him. It might not matter anyway though. So you go sort of down mid, you're being shot by him. Again, yeah, you're being shot from this guy, and then this guy turns around as well. So it's easy to say with hindsight. But tucking in this way, using the cover of those pallets is going to be your best bet here, I would say. So you try and engage that guy. I think from this point you're screwed. You're screwed. As soon as this shot doesn't break his armor, you're basically screwed because you know there are guys coming behind. Right decision from this point to go that way and try and escape. But it's not going to happen. Yeah, that's not really your fault. It was just a very, very unlucky situation. Oh, another thing I've noticed is that your FPS is all over the place. It's wildly fluctuating between like 60 and other stuff. I would recommend capping that at the lowest value that you generally tend to have in a game. I would say if you generally have 60 FPS as your minimum, cap it at 60. It'll just make your aiming a bit more consistent. Yeah, see, again, you're rushing shots. But I'll just talk you through why it's important to cap your sensitivity real quick. I think I've already had this conversation with you, but if anyone doesn't know this, Space Marine changes your mouse sensitivity as your FPS changes. So in this particular scenario, you're sort of fluctuating between 60 and 80, I would say, and that's actually making a big difference. I'm not going to go through it and demonstrate in-game by changing my FPS cap, but it makes a tangible difference to your aim. Most notably, if I go from, say, 80 FPS to 60 FPS, my sensitivity doubles, and then I either have to just live with it or change my in-game sensitivity, and it's just really messy. So cap your sensitivity at the lowest it'll go in a game, and then you'll have constant sensitivity and more consistent aim. Again, in this scenario, you're rushing. You're not checking if your crosshairs are on the target when you're clicking. I think just less shots, but better aimed shots, will be a bit of a game changer for you. Moving up to the flank on A again. You're going for him. This is good. Again, I would prefer pistol, but you do get the kill. I like the move out here. You see him roll and then you go for him. That's really good. You do get the kill here. Right decision to tuck in here. I like that. You can see another one coming from here. This guy needs to die. You can't engage them on the point with this guy alive, so I would engage him with Stalker as soon as I'm able here. That was the point. When he was running in a straight line, that was when you needed to kill him. You're now engaging him. But he's already seen you, so yeah. The further away the target is, the more likely he is to not have noticed you. So I don't think he's seen you here, and he is going to come either through this door, or he's going to go off to the side when you start shooting him. So this is your chance. This guy's distracted, kill this guy, and then you can deal with him without too much pressure. The trouble is you do wait a bit too long. This isn't great scope range either, which is I think why you do miss these shots. So now you know there are two in there. And you've got a third one coming in. Again, kill this guy. Kill this guy before he comes. Okay. Better range to engage him. They're actually really low. Yeah, that's a bit too hard a commitment there, I would say. Things go south when you allow more enemies to join the fight. But from that point onwards, I think it's time to just try and get out of here. Like, I know they're low, and there's a grenade behind you. Yeah, see, I would have gone this way. Just get out of here. Drop down, make your escape. There's too many to fight in one go. Even if you make it here, you're still going to die to this guy, and there are two of them in there. I think you could have escaped that scenario, but the moment you decide to commit, you are dead. It's a minor thing, but I mean, you probably would have died anyway, I would say. It's hard to tell. I think that would have just been a better decision to disengage and try again from a different angle. This is a better route. I prefer you going directly for the enemy home point. Although C is being decapped. That's nice. That's a really nice combo. But this is the interesting thing. You're switching to pistol to finish the kill after charges, and this is a very good combo. This is something I really like to do myself. The game has finished. Let's load it up again. So what I mean is that the pistol is a better mid-range finisher after a melter shot, I would say. But the Stalker Bolter, on the other hand, is better up close. So let me show you what I mean. Personally, I would, at this sort of range, this is prime pistol range. You see how much more accurate that is than if I go. It's going all over the place. Now, the counterpoint to that is if I charge, I go for it, and then I would follow up with Stalker. Say this is the target, this wall is the target. So I fire, I go after him, then at this range, I think you'll agree that that's accurate enough. Whereas in contrast, you're going for the charge and then switching to pistol to finish him off. I prefer the Stalker at this range, but I prefer the pistol at mid-range. I would say switch them around, personally. Anyway. Let's see if there's a way to survive this situation, actually. So you go for him. It's a rush melter shot, though, to be honest. You're over-aiming. That might be because your sensitivity has just dropped again. It's now sub 70. It might be because your sensitivity is just too high in general. But you do flick past him and you don't get the full damage. So you go for the charge, finish him with the pistol. At this point, I would say you want to get out of there from this direction. You want to tuck around here. Instead, you go this way, and I'm not entirely sure why, because you're aware that you're being shot at from behind. I think maybe you thought you could just turn and engage him. But there are two targets, and then, yeah, by that time it's too late. So, it's a minor thing, again, but these things can make a difference. Just small decision making like that will keep you alive and keep you in the fight a bit more. Not quite sure you're aiming at his hips. At this sort of range, this is good Stalker range, but you're aiming low. You can afford to take your time and land the headshots here because he is using a bolter. Well, either way, you trade a little damage with him and it doesn't really end up mattering. Whoever's on here is super screwed. Yeah, he's dead. And now you've got so many people on this point. Just leave them to it. Go. You don't need to stay and cap this. You really don't. There's a game to win. Running the last cannon. Okay, you take the shot and you move. That's good. A little risky to engage. He could have headshot you there, but I like that you decided to evade as soon as you took the body shot. Okay, right decision. Don't stay and try and kill that guy. I don't like these stim uses. There's not much point to it because you're not taking any fire. You know that your team are shooting the guy behind. You can hear that. Why are you stimming up now? In like 2 seconds time, you'll have that back anyway, and you've wasted your stims. Whereas an option that you could have chosen here actually is to just go for him. You've got no armor. I would say push round this way. If you start shooting at you, you can pop stims and heal under fire. That's where the main value of stims, as I mentioned before, the main value of Laraman stims is not to just bump up your health a little bit. It has some utility in that sense, but the main thing that you can do with it is heal under fire and win shootouts that way. It's so strong, and if you're not doing that, you're not getting the full value of the kit. So you do decide to stim up there, which is too early, really. And again, see, you weren't healing actively, so you took a bit much damage there. So we know there's a Stalker bolter. Okay, go for him now. Now. That's it. I'm not quite sure how that didn't one-shot him. There's definitely some lags in this lobby. I'm not keen on this. You could have just run up to him. I don't know why you felt the need to animation cancel that. Or at least you could have short cancelled up to him. So from here... you're too close to him. The melter gun, it's very easy to miss shots when they're that close. So if you want to do that, take your time. You rush it again here. And you've missed the shot. You do land the charge, but his teammate comes and finishes you. This might seem really nitpicky, all of this sort of thing, but I'm pitching this at a higher level to the other VOD reviews that we've had before. So I'm really going to go into detail about every little micro decision that you can make here, because I think it can really help your game just to improve the decision making just a teeny bit here. In this sort of example, for example, good English. Anyway, you're not able to kill him, his teammate finishes you off. Ugh, it's a shame. You definitely could have killed him there, I think, with just a bit more patience and less obsession with charge cancels, I would say. Yeah, right decision, you don't want to be taking shots from that range. Again, looks like you're going for the left-hand side, a little bit of a fat finger there, it happens. Taking fire from behind. You can kill this guy. Shoot him with Stalker. That's a basic bolter, you can kill him. Okay, you're going from now. Nice opening shot, but unfortunately he does escape. But yeah, but you're able to finish him off, that's fine. Yeah, this game, it's a struggle. Your team is really not up to much, unfortunately. Okay, good kill. Nice, nice. That's good shooting. That's much better, actually. You timed your shots so much better than before, actually. Yeah, so obviously you could maybe have gone for headshots in that position, but, you know, you landed the damage and you got the kills, so that's good. Yeah, the game's basically over at this stage. You might as well just kill this heavy bolter. That's good. You were actually watching the point this time, and you reacted quick. This grenade there. The game's basically over, so... Yeah, that's unfortunate. Let's just go to the map and think a little bit about what could have maybe been done. Yeah, you see, Bread was basically uncontested on las cannon there. That's not really a surprise. There's no one here who can particularly kill him. And obviously, you don't want to be having to deal with a las cannon yourself. It's just not going to go very well. So, looking at the map, with this being the spawns, and obviously you've got the points labeled there, my favourite route, I've done this before, but if you missed that particular VOD review, my favourite route to take is this. Up through here, and then onto this balcony. From that point, you control so much of the map. Actually, I'll just get a different color for that. So all of this is then not necessarily under your control, but you have high influence over it, and also this area here. I noticed that you, from all other videos as well, that you like to take your home balcony. Now this is considerably more limited, actually, if you just switch back to a more visible color, because of these boxes here. Now, people taking this point, they're usually going to be camping around here. Sort of this area here is where most people will take the point. Now, they'll usually tuck in behind these boxes here and shoot that way. From this position, you simply don't have line of sight. You just don't, because this box here is in the way. So in contrast, if you're up here, and they're holding here, you see there's this gap, so you can shoot directly over the top. I just prefer that considerably. Also, you're getting really caught up in the in your home building. I'm not quite sure why you kept going back here, but this is where you want to be playing on tactical, especially with this loadout, which is basically designed around sort of solo backline play. I would say just keep pressuring the point here, use this balcony to get control of B and allow your teammates to take the point. But honestly, it might not have made a difference either way. Your team just wasn't really doing their job. So I'm not going to go into too much detail and nitpick your decision making on a more of a tactical scale too much. But yeah, I mean, you played well there. Like your tactical play is genuinely good. I really like your sort of general aggressive nature, sort of the desire to push forward and engage up close. I think one thing that you're doing is using your melter gun as the primary, when really for this loadout the stalker bolter is the primary. I think maybe you're not entirely confident in your aim. I mean, you are missing shots, and as I've said, I think that's because you're rushing them. But I think what you want to be doing is looking for more opportunities to get into stalker fights and shooting from a distance from valuable positions like that balcony. Because really, most of this video you spent charge cancelling towards people, closing the gap, getting the kill, and then trading out a lot of the time. You don't really need to take those risks. When you're focusing on stalker as your primary, you're able to kill targets without them being able to kill you back. I'm not going to go through and look for specific examples, but it's just a little bit of a play style thing there. I would say look more for stalker bolter kills and work on getting your aim just a little bit more consistent by being patient and timing your shots a little bit better. I've already mentioned to you about the which weapon you're going to use after cancelling the swap from Melter. That's personal preference, but I would certainly lean in favour of bolt pistol myself, with the exception, like I mentioned, of closing the gap, charging, and then hitting your stalker bolter shots at point blank. Just basically barrel stuffing. But yeah, overall, good stuff. I think just with a couple of tweaks to your animation cancels and general decision making, I think you can really improve a lot and also just do really, really well. That sounds very woolly. But anyway, that's it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it useful. And yeah, so we'll have another one in the next few days, I think. And until then, I will see you on the battlefield.